What up? Welcome in everybody to another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start the show by being transparent and didn't do any shows over the weekend, but college football from Friday and Saturday, I think I went like 5 and 6. So it took a little bit of a step backwards overall in the season. I think that makes me 34-25. So still doing all right. Just got to pick it back up. In the NFL, I split 3-3. NBA took a step in the right direction, 3-1. So try to keep that going here today. And we got our guy Chris. I don't think you've been on my channel before. I know I've been over there with you, but Chris does very good work. He's up before I can even think about getting up and doing shows on his channel, and he's profitable. He made profit in WNBA, NBA. So he's a guy I respect, and appreciate you taking the time to come on, Chris. How you doing?
Yeah, appreciate that warm introduction, Skee. I feel like I made it, you know. Appreciate you, bro. But yeah, I'm good, man. Happy to be here. It's a huge slate for today in the NBA. And I'm excited to talk about it, Skee. I ain't gonna waste the people time. Get right into it.
NBA been treating you okay so far?
Yeah, NBA has been treating me pretty good, Skee. I think I'm up about making smaller plays, so not like a whole bunch of units, but up I think 3 or 4 units right now.
Nice.
Yeah, 11-7 I think so far throughout the first couple games. They've been really just selective, kind of picking and choosing my spots for sure.
Good work. Casey knows. She says Chris don't sleep, man. Yeah, he's up at the crack of dawn doing these shows, but it's good work. So got a big slate. Let's try to get through as much as we can, and we'll go in rotation order. So first up, I see 5-11, 5-12 Pacers and Magic. It opened up Magic -5. They're now a 6-point favorite. Total open 225, and it's down to 224. For the injury report, Isaac is game time decision. So is Franz. Um, Batazzi game time decision. So there's a couple of people we can keep our eye on there. There was something that stood out to me before I pass it to you on this one, Chris. I think it's both of these teams. I know it's the start of the season, but they've been playing a lot of games. I think it's the fourth and sixth nights for both of these teams. So I'm not sure. I know you do the queries. I'm not sure if you have a query for that. But if I just look at it straight up, I probably want to rock with the Magic at the house. They've been really good as a home favorite. How do you view this one?
Yeah, that was what I played yesterday. It was the first play I made, Skee, and this was before, of course, the Franz news. It was just outside of, I didn't even look into that to 4 and 6, but I guess you're right, Skee. This is like 4 and 6 already. I was looking at 2 and 3 and back to back, of course. But for the Pacers, Skee, like this was a line that I saw yesterday before the game even ended, and I saw Indiana off the overtime game yesterday, right? They were laying, I think, 7.5 against the Philadelphia 76ers. That game went to, I think Halliburton forced it to go to overtime. So you got a back-to-back losses as well. So I do think they'll be motivated because they got smoked by the Knicks as well. But coming off an overtime game, Skee, and then you got the home road travel. Like I don't like that as much. Something just doesn't seem right about Indiana right now. Now for Orlando,
Hallie sucks.
Yeah, he's playing bad, and it's not going to get any easier here, right? I think Orlando is a much better defensive team than the Philadelphia 76ers. You do have a third game in 4 nights for Orlando, but the way that they got smoked against Memphis, they lost that game by 13 points on Saturday, but and they went on a 21-0 run in the third quarter. So I don't know how much they were actually losing by, but they were getting smoked in that game, Skee. And I think that they get right here. They did beat Indiana twice last season, both of the home games they won, and they turned the ball over 19 times. I think that's another thing that stood out to me, Skee. It was the season opener for Memphis. They turned the ball over 19 times, gave Memphis 30 points off those turnovers. But if you look at Indiana, they haven't forced any turnovers. So while they do, these two teams, like I think it's a similar play like opponent because both teams like to run. I don't think that Indiana will be as effective running today, coming off their overtime game and having to travel. And we talked about this on Cal's show last week. Orlando finished 11. They were the best home favorite team in the NBA last season. 11-4 against the number when they were 6-point favorites or less. They were winning those games by average of 11. And Yeah, that was the biggest reason, Skee, why I like them in this spot. I just think that them coming off the loss, it's a pretty bad spot for Indiana here. So I did want to fade Indiana off the overtime game. I laid the 5.5 with them. The line went up to 7. I think it was 7.5 when I woke up this morning. But Franz, the news about Franz, like
It's
him being,
bringing it back.
yeah, it's bringing it back down. So I tried to get ahead of it. I did kind of get ahead of it. I'm gonna let my 5.5 rock out, and yeah, I'll be on Orlando today. Hopefully, Franz plays.
Yeah, hopefully he will be in there. And is this true here? Is this your birthday?
Yeah, October 28th, baby, Scorpio
Hey,
season.
happy birthday, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Damn, I didn't know it was your birthday. I'm making you do work on your birthday.
No. Shit, if we trying to make some money, Skee, it's gonna make my birthday better.
No, I feel you on that 100%. But in all seriousness, I hope you appreciate hope you enjoy it. And yeah, make sure y'all show my guy some love for his birthday. Rick White
Appreciate that, Skee.
says, any thoughts on the totals? I mean, from what I was hearing from you and what I think about Indiana from last year, I think last year when they were on the road, they were more of an under team. I know if we like the Magic, if they're gonna do anything, they're gonna clamp up. So the market pushed it down 1 point. I would think it's going in the right direction. You agree?
I would agree, Skee. I think it was one more. Let's see, real quick. It was one more thing I wanted to share with you. It was no, never mind. That it doesn't affect the total at all. But I would agree. I think the overs have been hitting at a really high rate. Skee, I think it was like 70% before the weekend came, and then yesterday we started to see some unders kind of settle in. And if we think that both teams, care about this game because they both were coming off pretty bad losses, and for the Pacers back-to-back bad losses, we do probably expect a little bit of defense. And there's potential that they could run out of gas late in this game, especially coming off the overtime game. I'm not really wanting to play a lot of overs when teams are coming off overtime games. So yeah, it'd be under for me or nothing at all.
Yeah, I was so sweating that other Golden State game so hard, I forgot all about that overtime. But that is a good point. Some guys in the chat, my bad. Kyle says Pacers 3-10 ATS on 0 days rest last year, 2 worse than the NBA. That's something to like the Magic. Munoz says Magic spot here. Pacers coming off overtime and look ahead to Boston on national TV. Pacers last season on back-to-backs, that same record. Says something to keep an eye on teams before playing the Celtics. A lot of good points here to get in with the Magic. You got a really good number. Best number I see right now is a 6, and I'll write it on my short list here. I wanted to take my time today, but I'll make some decisions as we get toward the end of the show, or during the show, rather. Next game up, we are going to go Wizards and Hawks. Opened up Hawks minus 7.5, now 7-point favorite. Total open 231.5, and that is up to 234. Injury report: Hunter, game time decision, still going to be without Okongwu and Bogdan. For the Wizards, Sadiq Bey and Brogdon are both out. For this Wizards team, my bad. I'm pretty sure it was my thing froze there, so my bad. I agree with the total going up. First of all, I'll say that just because Atlanta, I feel like they've shown this season already. They've shown previous seasons they're not going to play much defense, and you could be missing one of their defenders there today already. Washington, I wanted to kind of wait and see what they would be because I wasn't sure what to expect from Sarr and some other bigs that they have there. But I think these are two teams that we still can't trust to play any defense. So I'm in agreement with the total going up. And Atlanta, here it is. Atlanta's been playing a lot of games, right? 3rd and 4 nights, 4th and 6. So Wizards do have that rest advantage, but are they good enough? I mean, I think I'm starting to think of them like the Panthers. Can we trust the Wizards to keep it respectable in this game, Chris?
Not with my money, Skee. not with my money. To your point, though, in all seriousness, Skee, I think it's easy to get on here and talk about fading these teams that have started the season off pretty poorly, like the Washington Wizards or the Toronto Raptors. But we got to take into consideration who the teams have played so far. The Wizards, I am in no way endorsing the Wizards. I don't want people to think that before I even say this, but But the idea they have played the Cavs and the Celtics. I think we both agree, Ski. Those probably two top 4, top 5 teams in the
Right.
Eastern Conference. The Wizards, I just don't see a lot of depth here, Ski. Like they got this Carrington guy in the starting lineup now. I worry about their bench. Like they scored 102 against the Celtics, and the Celtics weren't really playing that, the greatest defense in that game. And then they got 116 against the Cavs, but the Cavs also just smoked them too. So I think I stay away from the side and just play the total in this game, and it would be up and over. Ski. This was like 230.5 last night when I was looking at it. Atlanta has also failed to cover all 3 games so far. They were favorites in the first 2 and won both of them, but didn't cover. Last night, I'm watching that game. I don't know if you was watching that game against the OKC last night, but like they like let go of the rope pretty badly. They lost the fourth quarter by like 20. So I don't want to lay points with a team that lost 20 and had to travel on a road home back to back. Like that's not necessarily the greatest spot. So peep this, Trinsky, and then we can get off of this game because it's total over or nothing for me. So unrested home favorites playing within the first 10 days with no rest. I said it already with no rest, and they had to travel, and they're laying between 5 and 8, which they are in this game. 44, 67, and 5 against the number. And when you add the 3rd and 48 days, as well as the unrested and the 4th and 6th, pretty sure this probably comes down even more. That says that they only cover about 40%. Still not putting my money on the Wizards though. But yeah, that would be a spot to back them here. To the point on the over, Ski, I looked at road dogs in game 3 specifically, who lost game 1 and game 2s, facing the unrested opponent. They're 11-5-1 to the over, 69%. So that does say play over here. That would be the only way that I'm looking.
I like that. That last one. Between that, the market pushing it up. I mean, it just makes sense for me with these teams. And I'll go back, I'll just simplify it on that spread. The Wizards have the rest advantage for one, but you got 2 teams here you don't trust to play any defense. I mean, how can we expect them to win by any margin if they're not going to get stops? So I won't put my money on the Hawks. It would be Wizards or pass for me, and I would prefer to pass. So I'll my real lean will be the over. I like what Chris said there at the end. Next game up, we'll go Pistons and Heat. Opened up Heat minus 7.5, 8.5 point favorites now, and the total has come down 1 point to 219.5. For the injury report, Love out for Miami, and then Thompson out for Detroit and Clintman. So, man, Detroit has been like so close to covering these games, but just I think they failed to cover both, or a couple by 2 out of 3, I think by 1 point. They're fighting though. They're playing hard. The Heat, I don't like what I'm seeing from them over there. So it would be hard for me to lay points with them. I want to take the Pistons, but I think even more than that, I mean, why not just bet on Cade or Ivy? They've been balling. And looking at the other guards, I mean, it's not much resistance defensively. So is there one you would prefer if you were to play between Cade and Ivy, or how are you looking at this game, Chris?
I think so. Cade is cooking. I don't know if the market is kind of caught up to him. Excuse, I couldn't talk you off that. Jay Ivy's also balling too. Like both of those guys are balling. I chose just to back Detroit though, just in general. Like I like the plus 8.5. It's in my pocket. This did come down as like 7 when I woke up this morning. Then I see it got pushed back up to 8. Here's the thing for me, Skee. So I will preface by saying this. Game 1 of the season, the Heat got smoked by Orlando. And that was the night that Pat Riley had the whole like Ring of Honor ceremony thing, and they got smoked in that game. So I definitely wanted to back them in the next game. We cashed with the 5.5, 3.5, I think it was, against Charlotte the next game. And now here's the third game. And this game is significant because that, you know what, I won't use a descriptive word, but we'll just say that the statue of Wade will be revealed tonight.
Oh, no, wasn't it already? I saw it on Twitter, didn't I?
You did, but I think they're gonna they're supposed to unveil it to the public tonight. I think is what I read.
They need to rebuild it. That's what they need to do.
It didn't reveal it. I agree. But anyway, that's not enough for me, Skee. That's not enough to lay points with Detroit. Miami has actually beaten Detroit 6 straight times and 8 of the last 10. But Detroit's actually covered 7 of the last 9 spreads. So as bad as those Detroit teams have been over the past couple years, they still have always given Miami a fight. The Heat, I looked at them last season as a favorite of 5.5 or more because I don't like laying a lot of points with them. 10-4 straight up, but only 5-9 against the spread last season, Skee. You look at Detroit, like I said, they've been terrible over the years, but this was interesting to me. Past 2 years, they're 3-0 against the spread in Miami specifically. Since the 2022 season, they're 6-0-1 against the spread last 7 games. I think they're much improved, Skee. I think they can keep it within the number. Miami's never a team that I really want to lay a bunch of points with at home specifically. They've just been a team that you play that play a little bit better on the road. I will say, when I did my show this morning, Skee, I did take Detroit plus the 8.5. I will say a lot of people were trying to, well, not trying to influence me, but told me they were taking Detroit early. They like them first half. And I was looking a little bit more into it, and that makes a ton of sense because the fourth quarter is when they typically run out of gas. Game 1 against the Pacers, they got outscored by double digits in the fourth quarter. And just throughout their first 3 games so far, they're losing the fourth quarter by average of 6.3 points. So it makes a lot of sense that if you do want to get in, you take them in the first quarter, first half, because they've only been down by an average of 2 points in the first half. Our last point is this, Skee. The first 3 opponents that they've faced, Pacers, Cavs, Celtics. Those are 3 top teams. Like I think they can get the cover against this Miami Heat team. So I like them more and more. But yeah, I did take the points here. I think 8.5 is too many. Market just hasn't kind of caught up yet, in my opinion, to how good Detroit is going to be this season. I'll take the 8.5 here.
Yeah, Chris liking those Pistons. I don't have much of an argument. I do want to go through some of these comments because they're funny. It's from catching my attention right now. I wasn't laughing at you, Chris, but the chat, man, they funny, man. Let me see. Let me get back up here. There were some good stats too. So between a little bit of comedy and some good stats. Tomorrow says Heat 7-22 against the spread, laying 6 points or more at home since 2022. I would support the Pistons there. Yeah, tomorrow. This is what I was gonna say. Everybody on the Pistons, huh? But in this boofer, I like this comment. Everyone who is 1-800 the Wizards is all 8+ on the 0-3 Pistons. He said, "How you gonna rock with the Pistons, but y'all won't rock with the Wizards?" That's Boofer's team. So I like that one. Kyle said, "Can't wait to send 10 laughing emojis to S that when the Pistons went out right." Good stuff in the chat. And my guy Kevin Johnson always dropping some stats, kind of similar to tomorrow's stat. Says since 2022, Heat at home in non-divisional games, laying 6+, 4-17-1 against the spread.
They just want to win by 5 here, Skee. They don't want to win by 9.
That's it. Just get out with a W. I'm kind of with tomorrow. I mean, everything makes sense, but I don't like to be with that dog that everybody likes. So I'm gonna take my time with this one and wait till later and just see. But I wish y'all luck, everybody on the Pistons. Next game up, we'll go Nuggets and Raptors. Nuggets open 7.5. They're up to 9. Oh, I can't wait to talk about this game now. Total open 219.5, and it's up to 221.5. Injury report. Oh man, injury report. Nobody on there for the Nuggets. For the Raptors, Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, and Walter still out. They could get RJ Barrett in. Well, RJ Barrett is questionable. Quickly is doubtful, so probably won't get Quickly back here today. I'm going to start this by saying how. I mean, the Raptors, they don't have a whole lot of talent out there with everybody hurt, but they showed that they'll play hard, at least like they did versus the Sixers. The Nuggets, they've looked terrible, and I can say a few reasons why they look terrible. One, they keep getting rid of core pieces. Bruce Brown, KCP, just slowly declining in that regard. They don't have very much good shooting. And then you add the one piece who I can't wait to just maybe I won't go so hard, but man, he looks bad. Russell Westbrook. I'll say this. I'll take a couple shots at it. I got people not even returning text messages, people that's been pumping up Westbrook the whole summer. People, they don't even want to talk about it. They don't even want to think about it. Nuggets fans, not even returning calls. Nothing to like about this Nuggets team besides Nikola Jokic. Murray, he don't look the same. I mean, what is there to look? What is there to like for this Nuggets team? How can they be laying 9 points here? It's Raptors a pass for me. Can you talk me off of the Raptors, Chris?
Now, I won't talk you off the full game. I like Denver early, though, Skee. And I'll give you a little pushback because a lot of the things that you said is true, and I agree with. Westbrook looks horrible, but let's put it in context. The Nuggets have played 2 games so far. The first one was
Mhm.
against the Thunder, who have beaten everybody by double digits so far. The next one was against the Clippers, who are also. I mean, we know the Clippers gonna clip. Ski, you coined that phrase, but I mean they're gonna play defense. They're gonna play slow to keep themselves in games, and I think that's something that's been like helpful for them. So I say that to say this: the Nuggets 0-2 straight up, 0-2 against the number, but they played the Thunder and the Clippers. Like those are two pretty, I guess, solid, at least solid defensive teams. Now you get a Raptors team. This Raptors team probably won't have quickly today. Like, I don't know, Ski. This is why I won't play full game though, because the Raptors are on the first. I mean, the Denver Nuggets are on the first leg of a back to back. They got Brooklyn tomorrow. Not that game's mean anything, but you could potentially leave the back door open here. Coach Mike Malone, I wouldn't say he called out the team, Ski, but he did say like this is the start. This is not the start that we wanted, but we got to embrace it. Let's try and go on the road and find our rhythm. We got to try and get this taste out of our mouth for who we are and where we are. There's no silver lining, no moral victories. We got to get a win, and we will get there. I promise you that. So I just kind of feel like Denver, like sense the urgency wise. I think this is the first year Denver started 0-2 since 2021. I think is what I heard the commentator say. Um, I think they come out with their hair on fire here, Ski. I think it'll be a lot of easy buckets. I think this is a big step down in class from the Thunder and the Clippers. So Denver first half would be the way that I would play it, just because they are on the first leg of a back to back here. One query I found, Ski, road favorites laying 5.5 or more in the first 10 games of the season, coming off back to back losses, are +7 in the first half of the next game. So it do say that they play with some urgency here, and I think Denver does as well. I'll play Denver first half here, but I'm staying away from the full game for everything that you mentioned.
I would argue, why not just take the Nuggets first quarter? I mean, their bench doesn't look like they have one. I would, Jokic is going to play pretty much 12 minutes in the first quarter. Why not just take advantage of that before anybody else comes in? What do you
I can see
think?
that. I didn't think about that. That makes a ton of sense. And we were 6 days into the season, Ski. I ain't made a first quarter bet yet. I know you've been cashing with Portland, but I ain't even mentioned down the first quarter roads. But it makes a lot of sense if the urgency gonna be there early, and that's what I'm expecting. I will say this: Toronto's bench is pretty terrible too.
Yes,
So like they don't have too
that's
much of
true.
a bench, and I'm just thinking I expecting them to be able to stop Denver. I think Denver offense looks a lot better. They scored 87 points against the Thunder and 104 against the Clippers. But now you got the Raptors, a big step down in competition. So first quarter or first half, what do you see for first quarter? You looking at it? Is the 2.5
Two
under?
and a half. Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually write that one down because I haven't played the first half yet, but that was on my short list. I like first quarter and first half.
I wrote it on my short list as well. And getting the question here, what about the first quarter total? That's what they said. I forget who. There we go. Star Child says, what about the first quarter over? And it opened 55.5. Looks like 56.5. Or there's a couple 56s. Um, I mean, that makes sense to me too. Especially you want to do it with the starting unit there because they're better. The full game also going up. When you were talking, it kind of sounded like this should be an over game. I mean, definitely don't trust the Raptors defensively. Any thoughts on the over, first quarter over or full game?
I I worry about Denver pace of play, Ski. Like I haven't watched too many of the Raptors games. I did watch the Raptors versus Philly. I didn't watch the game where they just lost to Minnesota, but they held Minnesota to like what 10 points in the fourth quarter or something like that, and like were able to get a backdoor cover in that game. I think they were getting 14 and a half. So that scares me off just a tad bit of the total just in general for this game. But yeah, I probably just look Nuggets team total over. I just think they get a maybe Nuggets first quarter team total over if you want to stay away from the spread. But I do think they'll get enough stops and probably find a rhythm and a groove here against, like I said, it's a big step down in class. I'm not playing the total. All the games, I don't want to make two bets in the same game, but that first quarter, first half makes the most sense to me.
I like it. Last two comments I'll touch on. Quentin says, I'm in Denver. Ski Russ is terrible. They were so high on dude. You should hear the people now. Yeah, I know one of them. I tried to tell her. I told her don't embarrass yourself capping for this guy, man. And now I see that she's being called Rochelle. Kevin Johnson says road favorites. This is similar to what your query was, Chris. Road favorites on a loss streak. That seems pretty simple. 59.2% since 2013 is the only thing keeping them off wraps. So that would say back Denver tonight. And that's a good one from my guy Kevin Johnson. Appreciate you sharing that.
Shout
Let's
out Kevin.
move on over to the next one. That is Bucks and Celtics. Opened up Celtics minus 9.5. Hasn't really moved. Total open 234.5. Looks like 232.5. This is another one I can't wait to talk about too. um, injury report. Giannis now game time decision.
I think I saw him listed as probable earlier. Skee.
Okay, yeah,
Just because the back to back with the knee. Yeah,
he's probable. Middleton is doubtful, and then Hauser's game time. Porzingis is out. So, like Chris said, you have a back to back for these Bucks, but not only that. I mean, it's a couple. It's a lot of reasons for me not to like the Bucks. Back to back, third and four, fourth and six, whatever you want to say. But you have they haven't looked good since they got Damian Lillard to me. Like they've had maybe a tiny baby stretch or two, but it doesn't look like a good team. It doesn't look like that same dominant Giannis type team. Giannis is saying he's frustrated, rightfully so. You now have Glenn Rivers, you have Darvin pockets in his hands in his pockets, ham over there on the bench. I don't know why you would expect any good things from Milwaukee. That's just how I feel. Going up against the well-oiled machine in Boston here, this is not where the Bucks find their rhythm, in my opinion. I don't trust neither one of those coaches to have a game plan to stop the most potent offense in the NBA. So it's Boston or pass for me. And we all know what they call it. What's been the wagon? First half, first quarter. I think it could be a Celtics trifecta, honestly. How you feeling about this one, Chris?
Yeah, I always find myself like not wanting to bet Boston because I feel like the game I bet them will be the game they slip up. Skee. Just dating back to last season, and I've been an idiot since last season. I'm not sure why it's so difficult for me to pull the trigger with the Boston Celtics, but I'm primetime spot. Milwaukee Skee this season, they beat the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't know how much you give them credit for that. Like give them credit for that without Maxey and Paul George. Well, without Embiid and Paul George, they just look so bad. They lost at home in their Pfizer Forum in their home opener against Chicago. Chicago shot 44% from the 3-point line. If Chicago can hit you for 44% from the free throw line, and then yesterday was supposed to have been a desperation spot because you can't lose to the Bulls. Like they're in your division, but you lose to the Nets to give them their where so this is what I found, Skee. I found that the Bucks were so when the Celtics last year, the Celtics won by average of 16 points per game when they were home favorite playing against an unrested opponent. Like take the ATS out of it. Their average win margin was 16 points if they were getting an unrested opponent at home. The Bucks finished 1-10 straight up, 3-8 against the number, losing by an average of 16 points per game as a road dog last season. I can't. I'm with you. Like I think I'm gonna just lay the points. I also consider Boston team total though, Skee. It's 121.5. The Bucks continue like they gave up 120 to Brooklyn yesterday, pretty much. And the Bulls scored 120. So imagine what the Celtics can do in this spot. Celtics have also, they're the number one offense in the NBA. They've scored 122 or more in every single game so far. So, I think both of them could be a play here. The minus 9.5 and the team total to go up and over 121.5. I can't see Milwaukee trying to slow the game down here. And Boston's just so efficient right now. They're number one 3-point shooting team above the break overall. And Milwaukee, where they really struggle at, Skee, in my opinion, is they still don't have guards that can guard anybody. Like Damian Lillard is still food on defense, and Gary Trent Jr. coming in to back up Malik Beasley, he's still like, I mean, that's food too. Like they're the same version. They're like same player almost.
Yeah.
Like the Spider-Man meme. So yeah, Boston minus 9.5 and team total up and over 121, 120.5. I think the best players here.
Yeah, Drew, he owns Dame too, man. He been
Yeah.
giving him hell since he was on the since Drew was on the Pelicans. Um,
I'm scared. I'm interested to get your thoughts here. I don't even know if Drew like gets motivated for this game because yeah, that's the franchise that traded him away. But at the same time, it's like, thank y'all. Like I got another championship out and we beat y'all last year. Like I don't even care about you know what I mean? Like I'm not sure how motivated he is. I think the Celtics, Mazzulla is a weird guy, but one thing he is he's a motivator of men and he keeps his guys motivated. I'm just not. I know I'm not fading Boston here, Skee. What you thinking? What's the best play? What's the best way to get paid? You still think it's early?
It's either Boston. I mean, I was thinking Boston first half, but with Milwaukee on a back to back, if anything, they'll die out as the game goes. So I'm thinking Celtics full game, but I can't talk anybody off of anything Celtics. I haven't pushed the button yet. I agree with that team total. They cleared it every game this year. The Bucks ain't no great defensive team. I don't see them keeping them under either. So I think Boston, any kind of way, can get you paid tonight. Next game, we will go to 521, 522. That looks like the Cavaliers and the Knicks opened up 3.5 point favorites for the Knicks, down to 2.5. Total opened up 221.5, and it's up 2 points to 223.5. For the injury report, I see Imani Bates and Max Strus out for Cleveland. For New York, you have Josh Hart. Game time, McBride is probable, and they'll still be without Achua, McCullough, and Mitchell Robinson. Third and 4 nights for the Cavaliers, I believe, fourth and 6 as well, versus a well-rested Knicks team. I think they've had 2+ days rest. I don't think the Cavs are that good. Like I think they've been playing some easy competition. I already have I feel like the Cavs have shown us who they are over the previous years. Now I do think the Knicks will be good, but are they good enough yet to win this game, Chris?
I got to give you some pushback on the Cavs, Skee. I think last year, like they dealt with so many injuries, and I know that's not an excuse, but I mean, you are what you are. Like, and they were a hurt team last year. You had Darius Garland. He got he had like a broken jaw and was eating through a straw for like 2 months, I think. Then you had Donovan Mitchell who missed some time. Evan Mobley missed some time. Like Jared Allen missed some time, and they still were like pretty good. I can't give you too much of a rebuttal about who they play so far this season, though. Raptors, Pistons, and Wizards. That's where I can't give you too much of a rebuttal at all. But I like what Kenny Atkinson is doing here. How much of it is fool's gold, though, Skee? Who are the real Detroit Pistons? They played 3 games so far. They've won by 30, 12, and 19. But now they're a dog on the road. So I did some digging. I love the rest advantage for the Knicks in this spot. If you do like the Knicks, I think that's a very strong, part to play. Donovan Mitchell is from New York, so I think he's going to get up for this game, as he always does when he plays against the Knicks. And I do feel like the Knicks, even though they got that win against the Pacers, like how much can we give them credit? Because the Pacers don't really look like the Pacers quite yet either. This is what I found, Skee. I found, even though the Knicks they've owned this team, they've covered 8 of the last 10. Trend tells me that dogs in the first 10 games that are coming off 3 straight games where they won by 10 points or more in each of them, but they're a dog in the next one, 11-5 to the under. So it says that even though they may not win, they are going to show up and play defense in this game. That scares me because the Knicks have been playing fast and because the Cavs have also been playing fast. But I want your thoughts on that, and I want to give you one more real quick. I looked at road dogs that have won their first 3 games by a margin of 60 or more. So they've dominated, but then they're a road dog at that, within the first 10 games. 5-2 straight up and against the number. It says that those good teams continue, even though they have, not taken into consideration who they've actually won against. So if it wasn't for the big rest of it disadvantage, like you said, I would be on the Cavs. I think this is a coin flip type game, and I just also think that the Cavs match up really well with the Knicks. The other thing is this, Skee. The Cavs have this cohesive unit that they have right now is all 5 guys healthy. The only person there without right now is Max Strus. I think he's out with like a hamstring injury or something. The Knicks are not the best versions of themselves right now. Like to me, it still feels like they have to kind of figure things out. They need Precious Achiuwa back. Mikal Bridges, I'm still not trusting that flicking, hitching his jump shot. Like I think Cavs alive here, Skee.
Well, what I'm gonna say is my thoughts on the Cavs long term will not change. As far as when it's gonna matter at the end of the season, it's not changing.
That's fair.
Now, what I will accept, what I will allow, is the Cavs are playing good right now, regardless of who they've played. This is a unit that has continuity, in comparison to the Knicks, and I mean, the Knicks, I think, still are going to take more time to look like what we expect them to look like. They had a lot of motivation in that game versus the Pacers, and the Pacers are also a team who's not playing the best right now too. So I don't know how much we can put into that for one game for the Knicks. So when I
You
think
like the
about it like
Cavs,
that,
Skee? Yeah, you like
I
the
can
Cavs.
understand why the Cavs could potentially be the side today. I don't like the third and four nights, fourth and sixth though, but at least they didn't play yesterday, right?
Yeah, and the last one was against the Wizards where they won by 20. So I would have to go back and look at the box score, but I can imagine the starters didn't have to play deep into the fourth quarter in that game.
All right, fine. I guess I'll mark the Cavs on my list here
Short
as a
travel. It only
short
take
list.
about hour and a half, Skee, to get from DC to New York too.
If I'm betting the Cavs, I feel like I might as well just bet on money line. Honestly, let me see what
I
the
agree.
price is.
I agree.
Plus 120 is the best you get right now. Plus 120 or plus 2.5. I mean, we'll see. I'm not even sure if I'm going to bet it, but it does make sense to me now why we could like the Cavs. So on my short list, it does go. And by the way, Chris, they said that Magic game is down to 5.5. So Franz is probably not playing. Um,
Tough.
Next game, Houston and San Antonio opened up Rockets -2. They're a 2.5 point favorite currently. Total down from 221.5 to 218. Injury report: Steven Adams is game time for the Rockets. For the Spurs, they'll be without Trey Jones and Devin Vassell. These teams did just play. What was it? Not yesterday, but the day before. I'm pretty sure. Let me just see. It said, well, no, something. I'm off. I might be off here a little bit. Rockets third game in 4 nights. Let me see. Who did the Rockets just
No,
play?
you got it right. That's right, Skee. They played them on Friday. They played them on Saturday, but they also played on Friday. Remember, they beat Memphis on Friday, and then they
Gotcha.
lost to San Antonio on Saturday, and that was San Antonio's
Gotcha.
home opener.
So now, pretty much for the most part, they have equal. They have 1 day rest together. Um, I think it was a spot for the Rockets in this one, and I did have a query. I took a screenshot of it because I thought that you would like this one here. I was looking at it, and I want to bet it too.
Probably
I'll
same
share it
thing I
with you.
got, Skee. What you got? I
Oh, well,
got
go
one
for
too.
it. I'll let you go first.
Now, I just looked at what we always talk about. It's the bounce back spot, right? The quick revenge. I looked
Yeah,
at same opponent within 3 days. You lost as a favorite, and then specifically though, you're a road favorite because I think that holds a little bit more weight that you lost, and now you're a road favorite. 103 and 54 straight up, 65.6%. 92, 62, and 3 against the number. That's 60%. Says that the Rockets bounce back here and win this game, winning by average margin of 5 points. Yeah, right at 5.
So I feel like it's. I mean, yours is definitely more sample size, but it's kind of the same thing we're looking at. Mine was just divisional road favorites, um, playing. Within 2 days of the last game, they just played each other, and they lost that game as a favorite. 23-12 ATS, 26-10 straight up sets to play the Rockets. So kind of the same thing. Um, Yours had a lot more of a sample size, so looks like we're both looking at Houston here. Not the team that I really want to trust on the road all the time, but um, I'm not gonna lie. Outside of the query, I don't have very many reasons I want to back them. I do think San Antonio is supposed to be a lot better than they were last year. They've already shown they can beat this team. Granted that Houston was on a back-to-back, but can we trust the query, Chris? Are you rolling with it?
All transparency, I did not bet it quite yet. I do think there's some merit, Ski, in my opinion, to how these teams. I talked about this yesterday on my show about how these teams have started the season off. Like it just kind of feels like, um, to me anyway. You tell me what you think. It feels like the home teams, when they finally get their season opener, like they've actually played really well in that spot. And I do think it was Spurs season opener. They had lost to Dallas, didn't cover that spread. They were much more rested than the Rockets are. And it's always a big game because you got the little whole like in-state rivalry thing between these two teams, the little Texas triangle thing in the Mavs. So all of that makes a lot of sense. I do think, Ski, that the Spurs will lack offense. Like without Devin Vassell being a part, I think that they're going to struggle. I can see Houston playing a little bit better defense in this spot. And I think I would agree with Houston. That's the only way I'm looking in this spot. I think they're favorites for a reason. And I think you get a big bounce back game from Alfred Sengun. He had been balling. He had 2 back-to-back double-doubles, big monster double-doubles in the first 2 games. And then he really struggled in game 3, which was the first game in between these two teams. So equal rest, probably got a slight taste of some disappointment in their mouth based on how that last game ended. I'd only be playing Houston here, Ski. I think, like I said, San Antonio, man, I just feel like they're going to struggle to score here. And I think they caught the Rockets slipping in that last game.
Yeah, maybe I must have missed something, but they are playing. I don't remember the total for that last one though. I don't think this one opened up lower, but Kevin says if you know divisional under took under 221.5 last night. The market has dropped it, continues to drop it. So nice work getting the best of the number there.
Spurs team total under could be hit too, Ski. So in my query that I sent you, 90, 62, and 5 to the under, 59.2% to the under in that query. That's 157 game sample size.
So under looking good in this one, but I feel like I might have missed the number, man. I don't like getting the ass end of the line, but good work by Kevin getting in early there. Chris Paul assists. I played it both games, so far. Cash. Why does Chris? I mean, you got like in Spurs team total under. Does Chris Paul assist not cash now, or what do you? Any thoughts on that? I think we could go back to the well with Chris Paul assists.
Yeah, I don't think the market's caught up to that, Ski. I think there's a way that Chris Paul can get his assists and they still not get over their team total in this spot if some of the role players aren't playing as well as they did as well as they did in the first game. So I don't think you will go away from Chris Paul assists in this spot, especially at home. We know the role players are going to play a lot better. I feel like in game 1 when they lost to Dallas in Dallas season opener, that was more so because they weren't making a whole bunch of shots. Like they missed a ton of wide open shots in that game. As somebody who had San Antonio +9 and watched them lose by 11 and smoke a layup with 10 seconds left, I can attest to how many open shots that they missed. So yeah, being at home in front of their home crowd, Chris Paul gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. They don't really have I guess the Castle he's a true backup, but I think Chris Paul will be out there for sure. Ski.
All right, I feel like damn, are my queries not popping up? Everybody's on the under saying if you know, it didn't pop up for me in this one. I'm gonna have to go back and double check that, but I'll do it after the show. Make sure I got my stuff in order. Next game up, we'll go Bulls and Grizzlies. Opened up Grizzlies -8.5. They're 7-point favorite right now. Total open 233 and hasn't really moved. It probably dropped down earlier and went right back up. As far as an injury report, nobody on there for the Bulls. For the Grizzlies, game time. Conchar game time. Gigi Jackson, Luke Kennard, Cam Spencer, Vince Williams, all out. I don't have the strongest opinion on the side for this game, but what I will say is I want to hear your thoughts on this and I'm curious if you like this side in this game. But Giddy, when Lonzo's out, we're playing on him. When Lonzo's in, maybe we should just be playing against him, like playing the under. Um, any thoughts on that, or how you feeling about Chicago and Memphis?
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Ski. I don't. This is one of the games that I don't really have the best side on either. I think what you say logically makes a lot of sense. He's going to see less volume. He's going to have the ball in his hands, less facilitator of a facilitator role. And then also, it's like one of those other players get hot, like Kobe White got hot the other day. Zach LaVine get hot, then you don't get the ball as much as he doesn't have the ball as much either. So I agree with that. I think that's probably the best way to play the game, honestly, see, because I couldn't really get there with the side either. Chicago, um, Jared Jackson Jr. came back in that last game for Memphis, and they looked like a totally different team. They beat Orlando by 13, and they were up by like 25 at one point. So Chicago, they lost the season opener to New Orleans by double digits, but then they beat Milwaukee, and I don't know if that's a like a blemish on Milwaukee more so, but then they come back and get smoked against OKC in their home opener too. So I can't figure the Chicago team out right quite yet. I lost on them in game one against Memphis because I thought that they could cover that number. They were getting, I think, 7.5, 8 points in that game, and they got smoked in that spot. So Chicago, erratic teams. I'm off the side, off the total, but I would be playing Josh Giddey, if anything, here, under on his props if Lonzo going to be in there.
Yeah, I'm liking that.
It's a non-divisional game for both teams, and I think both teams got Brooklyn on deck, Orlando on deck. I think Chicago play Orlando, which is a much more meaningful game on Wednesday, and then I think Memphis got Brooklyn or Orlando coming up again too. So, yeah, this is like these non-conference games. I remember Jared Jackson Jr. was on Draymond Green podcast talking about how meaningless some of these games are, like how they like don't really care about these non-conference games because they never, like they don't mean anything to them. So, yeah, I think Memphis at home, I think is going to be a wagon this year, though, Skee. Long as Jared Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant are playing, like, when they had Steven Adams back in the day, 3-4 years ago, I do think that they're going to cover a lot of first quarter, first halves like they did, a while ago, but I didn't play this one.
Man, I feel like the Bulls just really like to run. I feel like the Grizzlies could get into a track meet with them. I'm leaning towards the over, but the comments kind of just led me to go look at the schedule, and man, that is something that stands out to me. I'm trying to go back and find the comment, but they said basically the Bulls have had to travel every single game, and not only have they had to travel every single game, it's their third game in 4 nights, fourth and sixth. Um, that's a bet against spot.
That
I would
definitely is a bet against Skee because they were in New Orleans, then they went home, right?
let
I
me
think
see.
they
Let me pull
went.
it back up. They were
No,
in
they
New
went.
Orleans
They went in New
and
Orleans. They
then
went to Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Then they
Yeah,
went
and
home to
then back home,
Chicago,
and
and
now they
now
got to
they're
go off to
yeah,
Memphis.
yeah. That makes a ton. I hadn't thought about that. Yep.
So I can understand why we could like don't do it, Wham Bam. I don't know, Wham Bam. We're gonna talk later. I'm gonna do my best to talk you off because this is starting to speak to me as a spot for these Grizzlies. I would want to know that Moran is in. I mean, they bullshitting with his minutes anyway. Maybe it doesn't matter, but I would want him in. So I'll be paying attention to that. If I do see him rolled in, I'll probably hurry up and push that button before it starts to be back on the move. Next game, we have Jazz and Mavericks. Opened up Mavs -10. They're 11.5 point. Why did I have 6.5 here? Yeah, that's my bad. I'll fix the banner.
You're
But
just trying to get in and get out in the first half, Skee.
that must have been, huh? I must have been looking at that first half. Total opened 234.5, and it looks like 232 is the consensus. Injury report: Collier and Juzang out for Utah. Eubanks is game time decision. Then for the Mavs, it looks like Maxi Kleba is game time. Still going to be without Dante Exum. Um, I don't have a strong opinion on this game. Dallas, they kind of disappointed me in that last game versus Phoenix. Um, in Utah, I feel like they should be scrappy. I don't know. My first thought would be to try to find reasons to take Utah, but it's tough. It's probably not a game I'm gonna play. Is it a game that you would play?
Nope. we can keep this one nice and quick, Skee. I'll just add this. I think Luka probably gets a triple double in this spot. I bet his assists at 8.5. I'm cool with the 9.5 too, just because I think he'll be out there. I think one game last year he had a triple-double at halftime against the Jazz. And you look at the Jazz so far this season, they're a team that plays a little bit better at home than they do on the road. 126 points and 127 points, Skee, to the Grizzlies and the Warriors throughout the first 2 games. Like last year as a road dog, 5-9 against the spread, lost by average of 19 points per game and gave up 125 in this spot. I don't think the defense has gotten any better. Like it's just that's why the line is so big, because they lose by average of 19 in this spot. But like you said, how like serious does Dallas take this game? If the game is close at the end of the first half, maybe you play them, live. But I do think it's a game that they're gonna absolutely dominate. The Jazz 3-point defense, Skee, is picked up right where it left off at last year, which is at the bottom of the NBA. They just can't go at the 3-point line. Not a lot of defense at all. I'm interested to see if the pace wise, like if Dallas wants to push in this spot, and if Utah wants to push. But yeah, Utah is pretty much bottom of the barrel. Anything defensively in the NBA. Already 25th, allowing teams to shoot 40% from the 3-point line. So Klay, as much as I think he's like done, he hasn't played well in the first couple games, but I think this is a game where he could hit 5-6 threes again, especially when being at home, rested. The 3-point shots are going to be there. I think last game was Buddy Hield, who hit like 6 or 7. The first game they played against the Grizzlies, and I don't know who hit him in that game, but somebody got a bunch of threes in that game too. You always target 3-point players against the Jazz which is why I like Luka assists, because no matter who he passes the ball to, they'll be wide open for 3. So, Jazz defense is terrible. I would be looking towards a Mavs team total over, thinking that they can get 130 in this game. They've really tried.
That makes sense to me. I want to see what Kevin's talking about here. It says non-divisional double-digit favorites on the first night of a back-to-back. 116, 74, and 7. 61.1% to the over, 32, 17, and 2 if opponent is also unrested. And I mean, I could see it. Utah's defense is ass. Mavs defense is not great. It was great at times last year, but it hasn't looked great, I don't think, this year. So maybe the over in this Mavs and Utah game. There was UCapper in here saying kind of a sandwich spot, off Sun game. Wolves on deck. Probably not a whole lot of focus on defense here tonight, right? For Dallas. I like that. I write that on my short list there. Dallas and Utah over 232. Keep going down the list. Feel like we're doing some good work here. Lakers and Suns. We got a couple left. Lakers Suns, another game that we just saw recently. Open Suns -2.5. They're now a 4-point favorite. Total open 226.5. It's up to 228 for the injury report on this one. Let me hit refresh just to make sure. Koloko, Vanderbilt, Christian Wood all out for the Suns. Still without a Kogi. And then Bradley Beal is game time decision. That last spot where the Lakers played the Suns were, I believe, back-to-back or off overtime games, something like that. Maybe both. Now, it's a little bit more fair rest-wise, but the Lakers have looked good. It's amazing, how a team can look when you get a competent head coach. Suns, I know they're embarrassed about what happened. I know they're going to want to, show up in this game and play a really good game because of it. I do think the Suns are the right side, but just not going to be betting it. What do you think, Chris?
Man, I'll say this, Skee, because I kind of agree with that. Like Bradley Beal talked about, like not finishing his food or whatever. But the things I'm seeing from some of these beat writers for the Lakers, Skee, I can't. Like, I'm not betting against this right now. It looks too difficult to bet against the Lakers. And just like you, Skee, I'm a diehard Laker fan, so it's difficult for me to be emotionally and financially invested. And if I bet on the Lakers to lose and they win, I feel like an idiot because then it's like I lose twice. So I'm not betting against them. I don't know if you've seen some of the things that I've seen, but I've seen things like D'Angelo Russell, flopping, laying on the ground, trying to get a foul call, and JJ Redick like get out, like go sub him. Like he's not like he's a no tolerance type of guy. Then the thing came out yesterday about him being at the car wash. Did you see that? The thing where he was at the car wash?
No,
and
I didn't see that one.
So he was at the car. So Baron Davis asked him post game after we came back and beat the Sacramento Kings the other day about him being at the car wash. And he was like, "Yeah, I was watching film at the car wash because it was the second leg of a back-to-back, and my son had basketball games, so I missed a little bit of like I just had a lot. Pretty much what he was saying, I had a lot going on. I still wanted to get my car washed. I typically don't watch film in public. I just feel like JJ, he's so locked in right now, Skee. I'm not betting against this team. Like, even when I was watching the Sacramento game, and there's two more points I want to make. I was watching Sacramento game, Skee, and we were down 7 going into the fourth quarter. And then LeBron James happened, right? I'm pretty sure you watched that. So to me, they're just at the beginning of the season, they were talking about like the Lakers playing with this pop and there's a new energy in the room. To me, that speaks to the energy. Like, even if we're down, we still can win all of these games. I think AD has a really good matchup against Nurkic. He's averaging 30. He's the focal point of the offense. Like, I'm just not wanting to bet against the Lakers right now, man. The other thing is the Kings own us. I don't think we've beat the Kings since De'Aaron Fox has been drafted. So for us to get over that hump, I feel like we probably could go ahead and give Phoenix another run for their money, man. I know that they want to shoot the 3. I know Bradley Beal, I think, is listed as questionable in this game, I think you said. And I know they probably got some revenge on their mom. Not betting against the Lakers right now, though, Skee. So, I'm not. That's all I'll say. I'm not betting against this right now.
I bet against the Lakers in the last game, and I couldn't even enjoy the comeback. I was just annoyed and irritated.
That's my point. Yep. Because it was the second leg of a back in Sacramento owns us.
Yeah, it made so much sense to bet Sacramento, and they let me down. So I'm gonna stay away from this one, man. I would be betting the Suns, but I'm gonna hope the Lakers win. Wham Bam says Lakers to the moon. Shout out to my guy Jay in the chat as well. Did see him slide in. Appreciate you tapping in. And Ronald says, here we go. Lakers 82-0.
They got to get some of that hate out of his heart. Come on, RC. Stop it, man.
I know he liking what he's seeing over here, man. It's all good, RC. Move it over to, it's better than what he got to watch over there, huh? Move it to the Blazers and the Kings. Damn, I don't even want to talk about the Kings. Just make me sick, bro. Can't stand the Kings. For real. Kings opened up minus 12.5. They're 12.5 point favorites still. Total opened 226.5. This one is as high as 230. Robert Williams. Ooh, he's not tripping. Robert Williams is game time decision there. Sharp is out. Matisse Thybulle is out for Sacramento. Looks like Orlando Robinson and Devin Carter are both out. I said this before the season started, and I may just have to keep rolling with it here. But Portland, they have a good starting 5. They don't have a whole, good bench. They may not be able to play the full 48 minutes and play tough, but they can give you hell for 12. The Kings, the problem is the Kings are top heavy as well. And the Kings kind of don't have a good bench too. So it's maybe not the best matchup from that perspective. Portland also on a back-to-back. But I've taken Portland first quarter every game, and it's cashed. And I said if you take it continuously all year, I think you'll make money. 4.5, it's hard for me to go against that. I do know Sacramento is hungry for a win, but I would only be looking towards that Portland first quarter. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And when I'm riding something like that, I just, continue to do it until it loses. So lean Portland first quarter. What do you think, Chris? Can you like the beam, or how you approaching this one?
I mean, you might like the beam, but you lighten it with damn near 2 touchdowns. I'm not taking the Kings, an 0-2 team that's laying 12.5. I want no parts. And primarily it's been their defense. Like they have not looked good on the defensive end. The Timberwolves didn't look good on offense, Skee, when they played us in the opener. And then they lose. Then the Kings lose to this Timberwolves team, and they were at home in that game. So don't like that at all. Kings also couldn't stop the Lakers. Now, of course, the Trailblazers, don't have the offensive efficiency. And I do think Anthony Simons was a little motivated by Brandon Ingram hitting that game winner and having to go on social media and saw everything that that was posted there. So a little bit of a letdown spot with the Blazers potentially, coming off that no rest in that spot. But I'm with you, Skee. I think you might have found something here with the Blazers early. Like, not only are they covering these spots, they're winning. Like at the end of the first quarter, I remember telling you like I need more than +1.5 when we did Cal Show the other day, and they didn't even need the +1.5. They were winning the game outright at the end of the first quarter, and I think they can keep that up. So first quarter, I would also venture out the first half, Skee. I think when the starters come back in, I'm not. I think the longer the game goes on for the Blazers, the more likely it is that the Kings pull away. But the Blazers are really, they're still a strong defensive team. And I said this at the beginning of the season when me and you and Kyle did the show. I think, for the Kings, it's still going to take a while. Like some of those bench players are gone now. Like you still got to work DeRozan in there. And I told you, to me, it just kind of feels like too many chefs in the kitchen when you got him, Fox, and Sabonis and Malik Monk back in action, Keegan Murray. So it's not like they don't have enough offense, but their defense is giving up 124 points per game through their first two, and both teams have gone up and over their team total. So yeah, I think Portland can contribute here, and I would play first half specifically, but I do think first quarter is a good look. I think get in, get out, like you said, like you have been doing with Portland before they do run out of gas here.
Hank said, "Don't push it, Chris. First quarter."
Second quarter is over, huh?
Well, we both have the same thoughts here. We're thinking we get in and get out with the Blazers, but ain't broke, don't fix it, man. In that first quarter, at least
they're
Chris
plus 4.4, Skee, in the first quarter so far. I'm looking at the number right now. The Blazers are plus 4.4 in the first quarter, but they're losing the second quarter by just 1. So what is that? They're a +3 in the first half. And you can get +6? Can I get 6.5? I should be able to get a 6.5, right?
7. You can get a 7. You can even get 7.5.
Yeah. Okay.
Chris said, "Y'all think it's sweet in that second quarter." All right. That's good stuff. We got through the entire card. And there's a lot of games, but we did some really good work. It took us an hour, but some really good work was done. Now let's move over to best bets. And before I do that, I'll remind everybody, or let me see if I got here. Yeah, at Crispy Capping. You guys can find him on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Also does his own show on YouTube. Same name, right? Crispy Capping. And he's up. I mean, he does it different times, but he can be up as early as 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to get a jump start on your day, tap in with Chris, and he'll get you right for the NBA. Anything else you would like to add promo-wise, Chris? And if you want to leave a best bet for the show, or if you want to leave a recap, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, Skee, for sure. First time, hopefully it's not the last. Love talking the games out with you. Sometimes, like for people who don't know, sometimes me and Skee like might chop it up offline and talk about the games like on the weekend. We used to do that Bible study all the time. Shout out to you, Capper, KC in the gang. But yeah, nothing else to really promote. Like Skee said, all my work can be found over on X at Crispy Capping, 2 P's, 2 N's, and YouTube channel. Where I do release my plays over there as well. So check those out for people that are interested. As far as I'll give the short list, Skee. I like Denver first quarter, first half. I like that Boston team total up and over 121.5. Cleveland, I'm interested in. Like you said, probably just take the money line because plus 2.5 is close enough. Utah, Dallas over. I'm gonna do a little bit more work on that. And then Portland plus the 7.5. Plus the 7.5 in the first quarter. Best bet though. So that was just a short list of everything that we talked about that I'm gonna probably end up playing a couple of these with it being 10 games today. Best bet though, I made two bets already today, and I won't give out the one that is compromised by injury, which is the Orlando Magic. I really wanted to fade Indiana on the second leg of a back-to-back coming off the overtime game. But with Franz potentially not being there, we'll go Detroit. I'll take them plus 8.5 here. Just really not laying big numbers. I know a lot of people had queries that kind of supported it. And I think that Detroit's still being a little bit disrespected here. When I look at who they played so far, They've played the cream of the crop so far. They had games in there against Boston, games against the Indiana Pacers, games against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think it's just a little bit of a step down here with the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, they know that they own this team. But as I said, Skee, dating back to 2020, the Toronto, let me get this right. The Detroit Pistons are 6-0-1 when playing in Miami. Remember last year, you probably remember this, Skee. Last year, first game of the season, Cade Cunningham misses a game winner, and they were getting 10.5, 13, or something like that, crazy in that game. So I think Detroit is still going to be motivated because even though they covered against Boston the other day, they didn't win. So I think they'll be motivated. I think they lose the game by 2 possessions or less. I'll take the plus 8.5 as the best bet here.
All right, good stuff from Chris. He's liking those Pistons and gave you a lot of ways that he's looking for today. So appreciate that. Do want to remind you guys, all of my work is at wagertalk.com if you want to follow whatever I do. And I haven't made a bet so far today, but I have a short list or a long list. And I just want to kind of balance it out, see how many games I'm going to be betting. Then I can determine how many units I want to put where, and I'll be making my move. So I will be live again with my guys Wham, Dutch, and Babano at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I will have a best bet for the show there. But my long short list: Magic -5, Washington, Atlanta over 234, Nuggets first quarter, Celtics full game, Cavs plus 120, Chris Paul over 7.5 assists, Rockets -2.5, Grizzlies -7, Blazers first quarter plus 4.5, Dallas, Utah over 232, and also still looking at K and Ivy points, rebounds, and assists. So that's my long short list for the day. I'm gonna take the little time I have in between shows to try to make some decisions here, and I'll lock some in with you guys later. So Chris, appreciate you taking the time to come slide by, especially on your birthday. I mean, that's dedication right there, man. He coming in on his birthday trying to get everybody winners. So make sure y'all go over there, subscribe, check out my boy Chris. Appreciate that. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you as well. A lot of great people, a lot of great cappers. And I wouldn't do this show if it wasn't for y'all good people in the chat. So appreciate y'all. Best of luck on all your action. I'll be back on the channel at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.